Hi, I'm Pete Davidson, and if you're like most people, you may be asking yourself, whoa, hey Pete, are you here to up my hydration game? And I'd be like, hey you, that's exactly right, with new Smart Water Alkaline with antioxidant. And you'd be like, okay, cool, but there's no way there's a higher pH, right? And I'd be like, there actually is! And you'd be like, that's rad, I hope there's electrolytes for taste too. And I'd be like, you're not gonna believe this! Elevate how you hydrate, and keep it smart with Smart Water Alkaline.
This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Welcome to Dream Power Radio on the Amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. I'm your host, certified Dream Life Coach Debbie Spector-Weissman. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love. Tell you, I'm really excited about today's show because this show is all about you. I'm going to be answering your questions and helping you understand the meanings behind your dreams. Well, I'm ready to get started. Are you? First off, I got several emails from listeners wanting to know what I mean when I say I'm a dream life coach. So I think this is a good place to explain that. I am trained in both understanding and working with dreams and how to help people understand what to do with their dreams once they figure them out. So I'll just tell you a little bit about a typical way that I work with a client. A lot of my clients are people who are going through transitions in life. They're going through retirement, or they've overcome an illness, or they've had a relationship break, or they're empty nesters. The bulk of people I work with like that, but I work with all kinds of clients. What I do is they will come to me with a dream, and I work with them, just to understand the dream. But more often than not, because they're coming to me with a dream, it's most of the time because they've got some kind of issue in their life that needs some resolution. And it shows up in the dream. So once they have that dream, and I help them understand what to do with it, then, we go through a whole series of questions, and most of the time I'm just sitting there asking questions of my client to get her to open up and really get to find the answers that make her have more self-understanding and self-awareness of her situation. And I'll just give you an example of a client that I had recently who had spent her entire life working and had been just so looking forward to retirement, which was great, a great goal to have. And she retired, and after that glow of having days, carefree days of not having to go to work and nothing to do, she realized, oh my God, I have nothing to do. What am I going to do now? And this showed up in a dream that she had. And by working with her to understand the dream and to understand that it tied into her questions about what she was going to do with herself now, we got to work on having her figure out exactly what it was that she wanted to do now that she was retired. Things that maybe she didn't have time to do when she was working, and now that she had the time, she was free to explore. And we went through a whole series of processes of doing this, and she eventually did come up with some ideas that she was going to run off with for things that would give her happiness, that would make her feel useful and needed, and would give her a sense of purpose. So that's one of the things that I do as a Dream Life coach. My greatest satisfaction comes in helping people go to that next level in their lives, to, as I like to say, learn how to reach that place where they're living their dream life and having a life where they are living life and not having life leading them. So in short, that's what it is to be a certified dream life coach. So now we're going to get to some of your dreams. Well, the first dream question comes from Paulette from Nashville, and she writes, I keep having the same dream over and over. In it, it's late at night, and I'm driving my car around and around in circles. I never seem to get anywhere. What's this about? Well, Paulette, I'll say the good news is that there is a resolution to this dream, and also that it's a very common dream, a lot more common than you might think. Whenever we have dreams about cars, and it is a very common dream, it's a dream that centers around ourself. It's something that's going on in our life in particular that needs some kind of resolution. And in your case, you're driving the car, which is also good news because that means that you do feel like you're in control of the situation. Unfortunately, in your dream, you're going around and around in circles, which means that even though you feel in control, you don't feel like you've come up with the answers. And so you're in constant search of what to do. The other part of this dream is that it's a recurring dream. And in a recurring dream, it always goes back to something in your life, some kind of issue, whether it's with a person or whether it's an issue with yourself, that you haven't resolved. And more often than not, once you get to the bottom of this dream, you won't have this dream again. So let's dive into it and see how I can help you. Because we're not talking, I can't get into specifics of what it is that is making you drive around and around in circles, but I can speak in general about what this dream might mean. And first off, it brings to mind that old expression, we live lives of quiet desperation. More often than not, we go through our day-to-day lives, and there are things that happen to us that give us some kind of upset. But if we don't do anything about it and we just kind of push it to the back of our minds and say, oh, this is going to go away, or it's something that happened once, I'm not going to deal with it, then we push it away. If it happens again, we might say again, oh, I don't want to deal with this now, and let it go. The more this happens, the more this upset becomes ordinary. And we just get to the point where we feel like this upset is just a part of our life. It's part of us. There's not too much we can do about it. And we just go on with our life. Well, this dream, Paulette, says to me that you don't want to do that. You want to get some kind of resolution to this upset because you don't want to have this dream anymore and have you keep going round and round and round. Well, again, another good thing about this dream is the other clue that's in it is that your dream happens late at night. And this reminds me of the idea of it's always the darkest before the dawn. So you've reached the point where you have had enough. You're ready for a new day. You're ready for a new beginning in whatever it is that is bothering you. But then we get back to that question, what is it that's bothering you? Well, we can just give you a couple of examples of things that might be the case. One is, let's say you have a situation where someone has said something to you that bothers you. Maybe they've given you some kind of mild insult, and you haven't spoken up to them to tell them what you think. You kind of feel like, oh, it's too small, I don't want to bother with it. But still, deep down, this bothers you. And maybe this happened the day before you had the dream. So the dream was triggered by this incident that happened. And maybe because it's not the first time it happened, you had the same dream again and again. That might be one issue. Another issue might be, let's say you're 10 pounds overweight and you always keep saying to yourself, I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to get rid of those 10 pounds and go on from there. But maybe something happened that day that you looked in the mirror and you saw that weight and it reminded you that you hadn't started that diet. And the dream was telling you, this does bother you. This bothers you more than you think. And so a dream like this is telling you, resolve the problem. And there are two ways you can resolve these problems. One is, in the case of, the person who is, bothering you and you're not speaking up, you can make the leap to get over your fear of speaking up and speak up to that person. I know that's difficult, it's hard to do, and part of what I do in coaching is to help people get through that fear, to break out so they can be more self-expressive. That's one way of dealing with it. If it's a case of the weight issue, you can choose, I am going to go on this diet and make a serious plan to do that. Or the other way of dealing with these issues is to just say to yourself, I'm going to choose to be okay with these situations. In the case where you're not speaking up, you might say to yourself, this is just a minor thing that this person's saying. They don't mean it. They're not being malicious. I'm not going to let it bother me, and I'm going to choose not to let it bother me. In the case of the diet, you might say, yes, I may be 10 pounds overweight, but I'm happy being 10 pounds overweight. I'd rather be 10 pounds overweight and eat the foods I want to eat and feel good about myself than be on a diet and feel like I'm depriving myself. So this is what I choose to do. The point of all this, Paulette, is that you have the power to make these choices. So my suggestion to you is find a quiet place and some time where you can be alone with yourself. Close your eyes, take some deep breaths, get yourself into a relaxed state so you can focus on what is it that's bothering me. And maybe, go back to what happened, that day you had that dream and see if you could pinpoint what it is that got you bothered and whether it is part of a pattern that keeps happening over and over again. And once you get to that point, then you can make the decision of what to do about it. And again, if any of you have a dream that's got you stumped, email me your dream at debbie@dreampowerradio.com. I'd be happy to answer your questions and maybe even answer them over the air. So again, send me your email to debbie@dreampowerradio.com. We'll be right back with more dreams after this short break. What could be more dreamy than a cruise to the mysterious and exotic Cuba? Join me in June for a luxurious 8-night trip on Royal Caribbean's Empress of the Seas. We'll taste the cuisine in Havana, dance to the music in the enchanting cities of Cienfuegos and Santiago de Cuba, and much more. For more information and to sign up for this unforgettable trip, email me at debbie@dreampowerradio.com.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, certified Dream Life coach, Debbie Spector-Weissman. And today, the show is all about dreams. We have a caller on the line, Tara from Los Angeles. Tara, tell us all about your dream.
So my dream, it was a few nights ago, and I had this very vivid dream that I had a flagpole like embedded in my head, which sounds really like a very uncomfortable situation, but I wasn't in pain at all. I just had this flagpole. It was quite a large flagpole embedded in my head. There was a flag at the top of the flagpole because I could kind of see it like waving around, but I couldn't tell what the flag was or like what it represented. And like I said, I was kind of walking around and showing it off to people around me. I was nobody specific that I recognized in the dream, but I just know there was people around and I was kind of showing it off and waving it around. And so it was such a vivid dream that so when I woke up, I, was kind of like, what was that? What did that even mean? So that's why I'm here talking to you.
Okay, so how did you feel when you were walking around with this flagpole and this flag?
I felt proud, I believe. I felt, like I said, I was kind of showing it off and very proud to show it off to people. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that makes all the difference in the world in this dream, because how you feel about the dream really gives us an enormous clue to what the dream's going to mean. So I would say if you were feeling, upset or hurt by having this flag in you, that would be something different. But what this says to me, and if it were my dream, I would just feel, just over the moon about having this dream. Because flags and flagpoles and waving a flag around symbolizes that you are proud about something. You are showing off your stuff. And you, like you said, you were going around and with this flag and waving it around in front of the people around you. So that tells me that you were really proud. It's like, were you ever, well, I'm sure you have, you've seen parades, and you know how in parades there are marching bands and then there are color guards that are marching in front of the bands and they're out there waving their flags around. Well, they're proud. They're announcing to the world, I am proud. So my question to you is, think back to when you had the dream, and is there something in your life or something that's going on that you could be proud of?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, I don't think there's anything really specific that, when I had the dream, what's coming, I guess, to my mind is being proud of accomplishments and, I guess, situations that have come up in my life that, I've manifested to arrive in my life that has actually come true. So it's not like it's an overnight successful feeling, I guess, but it's more to do with being proud of myself for perseverance and strength and hard work and being very diligent with things that I've wanted in my life intentionally and purposefully. So that's really what's coming to my mind. So that could be connected with this specific dream of feeling proud. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense. There's one thing that we do have to add here. A dream like this, and it's a dream, I would carry this dream around with me if it were my dream, and just, have it to look back on whenever you have those days when maybe you're not feeling so proud of yourself. And remember, yes, I've had this dream. I know I'm proud, and I could, I could call it up again and have that feeling, that same feeling that you had when you had the dream, relive that feeling all over again. But the thing about a dream is, while it's very nice to have a dream like this, for it to really cement into your consciousness, it's really important for you to take action on this dream, to honor it and to make it really real in your heart and in your mind. So can you think of something you can do to take action to honor this dream? Either perhaps telling others about what you've been through and how you've come to the point where you're proud about it, or some other way of showing this pride in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get a lot of enjoyment out of paying forward. When I've had challenging times and I've overcome them in my life, being able to share that with others that are perhaps going through something similar or something else that's going on in their lives, and sort of helping them get through those phases in their lives. Like, for example, I have two daughters, they're teenagers. And so they're, will come to me and talk with me voluntarily about situations in their lives that is difficult. So I find myself being very proud of the fact that they are comfortable talking with me about difficult situations, and that they know that I'm here for them and not to judge, make judgment or pass judgment or make them feel guilty or bad about anything, rather than I'm sort of there to listen and help them, because they're the only ones that can get through the situation. But knowing that I can hold a space for them during such a challenging time. And I think I provide that for a lot of my close friends as well. So that's kind of what really comes to mind now when you talk about being, honoring the dream and being proud of, of where I'm at and how can I pay that forward and what can I do to acknowledge that.
Okay, well, I hope you continue to fly your proud flag, show it off to all of your family and friends. Is there anything else about this dream that's maybe come up for you in this conversation?
I think that you've helped me sort of really drill down into what this dream represented, which is, often, I think probably a lot of people have dreams, but they don't necessarily, either they forget about them or kind of push them to the side instead of taking the time like you do you've done for me during this conversation to really look at it and what does it mean, and it's helped me to think about that. There are a lot of things, like you said, when you're having a bad day or you're feeling a little low, it's easy to forget about all the things that we've already done and that I've done and that I really should be proud about. Just really take time to acknowledge that about my life. So thank you.
You are quite welcome. But I think your dream brings up a very important point that I want to bring home to everybody. And that's, a lot of times when we think about dreams, we think, oh, we only remember the bad dreams or the dreams that really upset us. But it's equally, if not more important, to remember the good dreams that we have, because those are the dreams that are gold. They're the gold that we can keep to really keep us energized and to keep us going. And again, to fall back on during those times when we need a pick-me-up. And we can use these dreams to remember how perfect and how wonderful and how loving and loved that we are. So thank you so much for sharing this dream. And next, we have a question from Susan from Colorado. She writes, does pot help us dream or does it depress dreams? Well, Susan, this is an excellent, excellent question. And as you know, with the growing legalization of marijuana around the country, it's a question a lot more people are having on their minds. What exactly are all of the effects of marijuana on our bodies? I have to say, as far as dreams go, unfortunately, the answer, I believe, is that pot depresses our dreams. And this is why. There's still a lot we have to learn about sleep science and dream science. And every day there are more and more studies that come out. But this is what we do know as of now. We have about 5 sleep cycles in our nighttime. We start off in the one cycle, which is that sort of hazy place that we're in when we're just about ready to fall asleep. And then we go into what's called stage 1 sleep. Then we have stage 2 sleep. And then we have REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. And then we go through these cycles till the very end we have another sort of hazy area of sleep, and then we wake up. Up until now, it's been believed that all dreams happen in the REM cycle. Although new studies are starting to show that that's not quite the case, that there are a lot of dreams that happen in the hypnagogic state, which is that hazy state when we're first falling asleep, and in the hypnopompic state, which is that hazy time when we're just coming out of sleep. Some people even believe that we have dreams in stage 2 sleep, which is deep sleep, although we don't remember these dreams. Marijuana is among drugs like opiates and alcohol and some prescription medications that actually work by depressing the REM cycle while we sleep. And so since most dreams are in the REM cycle, it's very likely that if you smoke marijuana, especially right before you go to sleep, you're going to be depressing both your REM cycle and your dreaming cycle. So my advice to you, Susan, if you're somebody who imbibes, don't smoke right before you go to sleep. In fact, keep a number of hours between the time that you smoke and the time that you go to sleep, if you do want to remember your dreams. And I do encourage you to remember your dreams, so please take heed with that. And thank you for your letter. And we have time for one final question from Jean in New York. She writes, "My husband died 2 years ago, and last night I had a dream where he came into the bedroom while I was sleeping. He smiled at me and then walked over to the door and opened it. He stood next to the door for what seemed like a long time and then waved to me. Then he opened the door and walked away. Was it really him in the dream?" Jean, I'm so glad you wrote to me about this. I do believe that it was your husband coming to you in this dream. And this, too, is very common in dreams. It is so sweet to have a dream where a loved one comes back to us in our dreams. It says to me that he is still thinking of you. He is still in you are still in his heart. And I think that this dream was sending you a message. And this is something that you want to take heed of. He wanted to let you know that it's time for you to go on with your life. He was smiling at you, which means, he was being very loving, and stood at the door and opened it, which says to me that he was allowing you to open the door into that next stage of your life, that you should be feeling free and happy about the opportunity to go on with your life. He doesn't want you to spend the rest of your life grieving over him, or spend the rest of your life not pursuing any other kinds of attachments because of any kind of feelings you had for him. What this dream is telling me, and I would say if it were my dream, it's what I would think it was saying to me, is, Jean, be free. Remember all the loving, happy times we had and cherish them, because they were real and they were meaningful, and you know that I loved you and you loved me, and that love is going to go on forever. But it's time for you to find a new path in life, to take new opportunities, be aware of and take new opportunities, whether they're romantic opportunities or just opportunities in your life that you haven't been willing to take advantage of because you're still holding on to that grief. If it were my dream, Jean, I would say, let go. cherish those loving memories that you had and just go on and live your life to the fullest and be happy about it and realize that your husband is giving you his blessings for you to go on with your life. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this show about dreams. Tune in next time on Dream Power Radio. This is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.